And talking about that subconscious bias towards Premier League clubs, it's got everyone talking. But another O'Neill, the former Villa boss Martin, agreed with Gary's comments on White and Jordan yesterday.
Eventually, you, as a football manager, the results are the most important thing. And if you are in a string of results, then you get all sorts of thoughts go into your head. But at the end of it all, there definitely was a feeling that the big clubs would get the big decisions, certainly in my early stages of management.
And in the Times this morning, Peter Walton, former referee, said Gary ONeall is right. Referees are only human, and of course their judgment can be influenced or skewed unwittingly, no matter how conscientious they are, which is pretty much what Gary ONeall was saying.
Do you know what I think, Jeff, that Gary says? And as I say, I'll continue to sing his praises because I think he handles it really well. And this is factually correct. If you're going to make a decision that's going to upset a big guy or a little guy, you know, subconsciously, you're going to upset the little guy because you think it's going to give you less hassle. I mean, in answer to the question, I don't know if there is a bias or there is even a subconscious bias or whether the big clubs get the majority of the decision. I actually don't know the answer to that, but it makes sense to me that the human mind would take the easier option.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, there is quite clearly no deliberate, no intentional bias. No one is questioning referees' integrity. It's just a question of whether their subconscious is dripping things into their brain. Look, let's get another view on this one. Very good morning to former Premier League referee Mark Halsey. Morning, Mark.
Morning, Mark. How are you?
Morning, guys. I'm very well, thank you. I'm not happy that my team are bottom of the Championship, but there we go. So hopefully we can beat Coventry tonight.
Having a tough time, mate.
Yeah, which we didn't really expect at the start of this season. No. After the way they finished last season, but there we go.
Absolutely.
So what do you make of all this then? Subconscious bias, Mark?
No, listen, it's nonsense. Yeah, I mean, I can only speak for myself. When I went out and refereed, I refereed what was in front of me, whoever it was, and you give it as you see it. I mean, listen, I thought that it was a perfectly good goal on Sunday. I don't think Wolves can have any complaints about the goal. They could have a complaint about a foul in the build-up to the succession of corners. Just before they got the first corner, there was a definite foul. I think it was Nunez that fouled the Wolves centre forward. I mean, you could argue that Arsenal had a complaint as well with their red card on Saturday against Bournemouth, because I don't hear anybody that over the weekend that's quoted the law 12 fouls and misconduct. I mean, you look at the sending off of Saliba on Saturday. Was that a clear and obvious error by the match referee Rob Jones? I thought he got it spot on in real time. Was it a clear and obvious error? No. Was it subjective? Yes. So why has VAR got involved? When you look at a goal or denial of an obvious goal scoring opportunity, was that an obvious goal scoring opportunity? The referee has to consider, the distance from the goal and the offence. It was quite a long distance, wasn't it? The direction of play, i.e. where the ball's going, the likelihood of the player keeping or gaining control of the ball, and the location of defenders. Now, when you look at Law 12 and that criteria the referee has to consider, there's got to be doubt to whether that was an obvious goal scoring opportunity at Bournemouth.
Mark, that's exactly what Jeff and I were talking about yesterday. We think VAR are getting involved in decisions they should not be getting involved in because it is not a clear and obvious error. Absolutely
spot on, Ali. And what does Howard Webb keep coming out and saying? He doesn't want VAR to get involved with subjective decisions. He wants the decision to stay with the on-field referee. I thought Rob Jones got that spot on Saturday. I have to say, I'm not the only one that thinks that either.
I mean, you might argue the same thing, for instance, when Robert Sanchez got a touch of the ball against Curtis Jones, but then wiped him out afterwards. And the referee was Chris Kavanagh in charge of that game. I can't remember now.
It was, but Jeff, you look at that incident. You go back to the first weekend of the season, West Ham, Aston Villa, Matty Cash and Thomas Souček. Yeah. Exactly the same happened.
Yeah.
And a penalty was given, and VAR didn't get involved. Yeah. This time, the penalty was given, VAR got involved, and it wasn't given. And for me, it wasn't a penalty at West Ham, and it wasn't a penalty on Sunday.
What really frustrates, I'm sure you're aware, Mark, what really frustrates fans is, VAR getting involved when they don't need to and not getting involved on other occasions. I'm going to give you an example, and I'll take you back to St Mary's at the weekend.
Yes.
The foul from AU on Onuachu. Why is VAR not saying to Anthony Taylor, that is a clear and obvious pull in the box and is a certain penalty?
The match day centre come out of this nonsense to say it didn't impact on that phase of play. Of course it impacted on that phase of play because he's going for the ball. He's going to challenge for the ball. I mean, these guys, they don't know the game of football. They may know the laws of the game. Well, obviously, in this case, they don't know the laws of the game because that was an absolutely nailed-on penalty. Yes. And that's where VAR should get involved.
100%. Mark, we're sitting watching, and Southampton fans must be pulling their hair out because that is an opportunity. Whether the ref might be unsighted, I don't know whether he's unsighted or not. He might not see it. But that is the perfect opportunity for VAR to step in and say, look, come over and look at that, because that there is as clear a penalty as you see anywhere.
But I think it was Anthony Taylor, the referee. He had a clear view of it, and he was telling me that the VAR, he didn't think it had an impact on play. But of course, there's nothing in the laws of the game, Law 12, about was it sustained holding? Yeah. Was it fleeting? Did it impact? It's a foul. It's a foul in the penalty area.
Yeah.
A penalty should have been given, and fans should have every right to be upset.
We saw it with Crescencio Somerville earlier in the season, didn't we? Look, I mean, the PGMOL don't help themselves, Mark, do they, with the way they try to spin things. Howard Webb coming out a week or so ago saying there've only been 2 errors so far this season. I mean,
it's nonsense.
You can fool some of the people all of the time, but not all of the people all of the time.
No, you're right. I watch every game. I have to watch every game because obviously I do me ref watch on a Monday with the Sun newspaper. So I watch all the games, and I can tell you, go through. I write everything out, and I can tell you how many mistakes there's been with VAR, and it's more than 2. I can assure you.
Yeah, absolutely. Mark, look, appreciate it. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Mark.
Today.
All the best, mate.
Take care, guys.
And needless to say, inevitably it will cause a huge number of comments
here's
on
an interesting one that's come in straight away. And it's from Agent 782, where it says VAR takes away unconscious bias. I'm not sure it does, because how can you make that statement? For example, we've already said that the incident at Southampton's a penalty, so whoever's in charge of VAR unconsciously might be thinking that it's not a penalty. I'm not sure it does take it away. You would think it would make some decisions more clear cut, and hopefully it does, but in that case it was so wrong at the weekend, Jeff.
That's the thing that makes me scratch my head, though, is when the PGMOL come out and say there have been 2 errors so far this season.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.